Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Noshera binti Ahmad Safawi. My matrix number is DE200093. So today our group will do a presentation for our project assignment which is mall robot sanitizer. So this is my group members, which is me, Noshera binti Ahmad Safawi, Abu Ahya bin Murad, Muhammad Syamil bin Ilyas, Risha Ego, and lastly Muhammad Adri bin Omar. So for today's presentation, we are going to discuss about cause and effect change, function analysis, contradiction, effective principle, result and analysis, and lastly recommendation. During this pandemic, the government has regulated that it is compulsory to use hand sanitizer and wear mask when going out. PDRM will take the act to people that violate the new regulation. So here we are going to innovating and creating the new innovation, which is a mall sanitized robot. So I will explain the cause and effect change. So the risk of transmitting virus come from poverty when people don't have money to buy sanitizer and also have ignorant people that don't want to wear sanitizer when go out. So this will them will decide to not to wear sanitizer when they go out. Second, the transmitting virus come from the lack of touchless technology. So people are forced to more touch the surface like button lift, escalator, and others. The virus also transmitting when people don't have money to buy their mask and also have ignorant people that prevent to don't want to wear mask, and also have people that always forget to wear mask, so them decide to don't want to wear mask when going out. Lastly, the SOP does not apply in our daily lives. So like as we can see, people always like to go to the crowded place like shopping mall. So the social distancing does not practice in our life.
Hello, my name is Abu Ahya bin Murad, matrix number DE200096. Now I'd like to explain the function analysis for this mall robot sanitizer. So the first component we have is USB port, which will charge the battery, and the battery will power up or give power to the robot. And then we have a button to switch on or switch off the robot, and we have a camera and sensor, which will detect the user. Camera used to detect the temperature, and sensor used to detect the hand and temperature too. And then the camera and sensor will notify the programmer, as the programmer will notify the robot. Then the robot will release the sanitizer. Robot also will ring the alarm if the temperature is above the 37.5 Celsius. It will also activate the speaker to remind the user. It will also give signal to LCD, and then the LCD will display the temperature to the user. And then we have two wheels to move the robot. And then some other system is the sharp object, which can puncture the wheel, and high temperature, which can lag the programmer.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Muhammad Adri bin Omar, matric number DE20043. So for today, I'll be explaining about the contradictions of our project. So the first part is adding sensors. This improves the parameter, which it avoids people from touching the surfaces of our robot. The worsening part is that the system becomes more complex. And next is the decreased size of robot. The improving parameter is that the weight of robot decreases, but the worsening parameter is that the robot becomes more fragile and easily to topple. Next is the use of metal for a robot's body. The improving parameter is the strength of robot increases, but the worsening parameter is that the weight of robot increases and it will slow down. And finally, increased size of the sanitizer tank. The improving parameter is that the volume of sanitizer brought by the robot increases, but the worsening parameter is that the weight of the robot increases too.
My name is Muhammad Syamil bin Ilyas, and I'm going to present on the inventive principle. So for the first one is the feedback. It used the sensor to detect for various purposes, and the programmer sends signal to the driver. It is to release the sanitizer, break the robot, and or the displaying temperature. And for the second is the blessing in disguise principle. Even though the use of battery cannot compensate for the daily usage or for operating days, but it is environmental friendly, and it is to ensure that to avoid emission compared to using petrol. And for the last, it is the pneumatic and hydraulics. It is used in the brake system. It also adjusts brake level according to the signal given, and it is to avoid collision.
Now I would like to show the results and analysis of the Mall robot sanitizer. So the first result we get is the IR sensor range is lacking. We observe that the sensor can only detect the hands when the hands are really close to the faucet or to the sensor on the faucet. And next is the IR sensor is not suitable to use for evading the obstacles. Why? First, the lack in range of the sensor, and second is the IR sensor is not able to measure the distance from the robot to the obstacles. Next, we observe that the IR sensor works in detecting the temperature. So what we find out is the sensor can detect the accurate temperature of the user. Next, the speaker is we observe that the speaker is not loud enough. When we try moving 5 meters apart from the robot, we notice that we cannot hear the speaker. And we also play loud music on the background, and we also observe that we cannot hear the speaker. And last is the battery is just enough to work up to 8 hours.
Hello, my name is Vijay Kolarpai, DE20017. So I'm going to present to you for the recommendations for future work. Okay, for the first recommendation is that we're going to use LCD instead of a speaker. So in case the speaker cannot be heard in the crowded places, so we're going to use the LCD display board, which it will display the please use sanitizer, so that it will notify more to the people pass by the robot, and it will be more noticeable for those who are in the crowded places. And for the second recommendations, we are going to use the remote control instead of the power on off button. So it is to avoid the robot to be switched off by the people who are near the robot, and also we want to give the full control to the management so that they'll be able to turn on turn off from the distant afar. And for the third recommendation, we are going to use the robot in the smaller mall or in a certain shop. So these are the recommendations that we give because the robot only cover 85% of the mall, which it won't be able to cover 100% of the mall there. So we suggest for you to use the robot in a smaller mall so that it will increase the efficiency, will reduce the battery usage, and also the hand sanitizer will be sufficient enough to sanitize the people who walk past by the robot. Okay, so for the fourth recommendations, we're going to use the distance sensor instead of the proximity sensor. It is because the distance sensor can detect further people, and it can calculate the distance also between the people and the robot. And it is more accurate than the proximity sensor, and it's easier to use than the proximity sensor. Thank you.